Hey everyone, this is Chris here. Just wanted to give you guys another video here on the button quail and keep you updated on them. I've had several comments and people ask, you know, a little bit more on the general care of button quail. You know, and I've tried to search YouTube, and there's really not a whole lot of videos out there talking about button quail and breeding them, trying to get the button quail to sit on their own eggs and stuff like that. And so I wanted to do a quick video with that, and kind of just talk about some general care tips, you know, things to deal with the basic button quail, their personalities, things like that, you know. And so, you know, first of all, you know, these button quail, these are full grown, these are adults. I have, if you can see, I have the male right there. He's a normal wild type male, and then there's a brown hen there in the back. She's also a normal wild type. And then I have a gray hen there, and down in here sitting in the eggs I have another gray hen. You can kind of see the white back of her. You know, and I want to focus mostly on breeding the button quail and kind of their behaviors and stuff like that. And you know, there's this saying out there that says that it's hard to get button quail to get broody and to sit on their own eggs and hatch them out. And you know, to be honest with you, I haven't really had that problem. And in the past I've had button quail. When I was younger I had button quail, and I was always able to get the hens to sit on eggs. And so I want to show you some of the things that I'm doing. You can see this hen, she's going to sit back on her eggs right there. We'll zoom in so you can see her. You know, so really it's not that hard to get them to sit on eggs. One thing I found out is, first of all, you need to make sure that you have 1 male to 3 females. That seems to be the best ratio for me. The reason for that is the males can become overly aggressive, and so if you only have 1 female in there with the male, you know, she'll lay eggs, and maybe she wants to sit on them, but the male keeps bugging her, and you know, he keeps trying to breed with her, and eventually she gives up on sitting on those eggs, and she doesn't hatch them out. And one thing I have seen with a trio of button quail is, or I guess trio meaning 3 hens to one male, is typically there's enough females to go around that the male doesn't persecute the females that much. As you can see, all of my females, they don't have any bald spots on them. You know, they're all fully feathered, in great health, great condition. And so, you know, this hen, you can't quite see her very well, but you know, so that's probably the first thing I say is 3-to-1 ratio. And then some of the things that I've done to help encourage the button quail to lay is either I'll screen off a corner. Oh, she just hopped off there. It's probably because I'm sitting over here. She doesn't like this. She doesn't sit quite as tight as this one down here. So if you screen off a corner, you can put like some cardboard up, so it's kind of like a little corner entrance, and they can go in. This one right here, she actually started to lay there in the rocks, and so I just built a little nest there for her, and she continued to lay her eggs in there. So that worked out really well. Same with down here. This hen, she kind of made a little indent in the rocks here underneath these fake plants. I saw the eggs starting to appear, so I went in and I built a little nest for her and just put a little bit of underlying so that the eggs aren't laying on rocks. And she was okay with that, and she continued to lay. So I think she's sitting on 12 eggs right now. And over here, I think there's like 12 or 13 eggs. I'm not quite sure. There's quite a few there. And then, so my third hen, this other gray hen, she's behind these blocks, she has started to lay right here. So I'll probably do the same thing, and I'll build a little nest for them, kind of make a little indent so that the eggs have some soft material to lay on and have a better chance of hatching out. So also another thing that I have noticed with the button quail is, you know, there's definitely a hierarchy. So before my 3 hens started laying eggs, I had a dominant hen, which was her. So she started laying first, she built the nest first, and once she started sitting on her eggs, then my second dominant hen, which would be the all brown one over there, she started laying her eggs and built her nest. And now that she's sitting on eggs and isn't laying anymore, my third hen has finally started to lay eggs and sit on them. So, you know, that's something that I've noticed. And, you know, that may not be something that always happens. It just seems to be something that I've noticed with this group of button quail. Also, you know, before they started building their nests, all three of my hens, they did start laying eggs, and I kind of had eggs all over the place. And so one of the things that I did to encourage them is I would gather all the eggs into one place. I started with this little bin down there, and that kind of helped encourage them to kind of, you know, gather up their eggs and sit on them and stuff like that. And so, you know, if you have hens that do that, you know, you can maybe collect the eggs and put them in a little corner that seems to be their favorite to try and encourage them to sit down. If they don't sit on them, you know, you can always throw the eggs in the incubator, and that's one of the things that I did is I have a whole batch of eggs. I have probably 25 eggs in an incubator right now, because they just laid the eggs and they didn't sit on them. Now these are really young birds. You know, they're probably only about 4 or 5 months old. So with that being said, you know, that could be, you know, that first times that they started laying, it could be just because they were so young, they didn't know what quite to do with the eggs. So, you know, have patience, try and encourage them to sit if that's something that you're trying to do, or you can just collect the eggs and throw them in an incubator like I did for their first round. So those chicks in the incubator should be hatching out pretty close to when her eggs will be hatching out. So I have, today is Tuesday, I have on this coming Friday is her 14-day mark, which typically they say if the button quails sit on the eggs, they hatch around 14 days. You know, in my experience, whether it's been in the incubator or my hens actually sitting on the eggs, it's been more towards like the 17 to 21 day mark when those chicks have hatched. So I'll check Friday morning and then kind of just check from throughout there and make sure that they're, you know, the chicks are hatching out okay and all that. And one other thing I wanted to talk about with hatching out babies with other button quails, button quail, you know, other hens, they can be aggressive towards chicks. I have had in the past, I've had a hen hatch out her eggs, and other hens that have been in the same cage with her have actually gone and killed those chicks. So it's really important to keep a close eye on them. Sometimes they won't kill them, sometimes they do, and so you need to make sure you keep a close eye on them. And one thing I'm going to be doing is, you know, I might put up a little divider right here. So this hen has all of this side, and then all of my other hens and male are on this side, just to guarantee that they won't kill the chicks. And I do have a little room inside my shed that once all the chicks hatch out, I'll probably take the hen and the chicks on the inside and let her raise them inside the shed. So that might be something I do, you know, and it'll be interesting to see, you know, if she hatches her chicks out, what are these hens gonna do, you know, and then, you know, if this hen hatches these eggs out, you know, what are the other hens gonna do with those chicks, you know? So it's something important to watch. You know, they do say button quail can tend to get aggressive with each other, and I have never had any aggressive issues with these guys yet. You can see over there, that's my bachelor cage. I have 4 males over there that I just don't have any females for, so they've just kind of been hanging out in their bachelor cage, and I haven't had a single issue with them. They've been really nice with each other, but they've also grown up together as chicks. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens, and, you know, what they do come when these chicks hatch, and I'll try and get you guys some footage of the chicks hatching out. or you know, the mom with the chicks and whatnot. So if you guys have any other questions on how to raise button quail or what I do, you know, please leave a comment below. I'd be happy to help you out. I do just feed them a normal game bird feed. You know, it's for pheasants, fresh water. I do give them some egg food, and then once or twice a week I'll give them some live crickets or mealworms, anything like that. So you see the male over there, he kind of comes and hops on the nest, and it kind of encourages the female to sit down. She's kind of a light sitter. Just because I'm standing here, she won't sit, but once I leave, she'll go in and sit there for a couple minutes after I leave. And so but yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoy this video and gave you some good information on the button quail and kind of how they act, maybe some ways to help encourage them to breed, you know, things that you feed them and stuff like that. And so like I said, if you have anything else, leave a comment below, like the video. Thanks for watching, guys.